Welcome to the Clarity Confidence Connection Summit, where badass women break through barriers and unlock their next level of success. Your host for this session is Samantha Ka'awa. Samantha has been recognized as a leading expert on relationships, and as a marriage makeover coach, she helps women transform their marriage while becoming their best selves. Samantha has been featured on Fox, ABC, CBS, and other international publications and podcasts, sharing her counterculture views on relationships. Co-creator of this summit, Samantha is eager to introduce another inspirational guest. Take it away, Samantha.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I am so thrilled to introduce you all to Sherry Buckley Brown. Hello, Sherry, and welcome. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So before we get started, because Sherry's going to talk to us in a moment about pathway to purpose, navigating your unique why. So before we get into that, though, I want you to know who Sherry is. Sherry Buckley Brown's 3 whys are trust, simplify, and make sense. She believes that success happens when relationships are based on trust. Ah, so good. Sherry has a natural ability to receive information from clients and break it down simply and quickly and provide solutions that make sense. She is a certified life and Y.OS coach with over 20 years of corporate leadership experience. Sherry is excited to be here today, sharing this empowerment platform with each and every one of you. So, oh my goodness, welcome, Sherry.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, so
such a
good.
blessing.
So let's just dive straight into this.
Sure.
Pathway to purpose, navigating your unique why. Normally, I love our audience to hear a little bit more about how you became an expert in this area and what got you to this place. Obviously, you're going to teach us this as well, but tell us your why. Tell us what's happening.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to just say it's an honor to be a part of the Clarity Confidence Connection Summit and to be amongst all these phenomenal women and everyone that's on the call today. I appreciate that. I appreciate you showing up to connect with me. And it's actually a special day for me. I get to do what comes natural for me, and that is to empower people to be their best selves and to live their best lives. I just recently had a milestone birthday, and that was my theme, live your best life. And I certainly,
I love that.
Yeah, I'm like, that's my motto moving forward.
Yes.
So thank you for everyone taking time out of their busy schedule. You're right where you're supposed to be, and so am I. But I'm going to be speaking, from my authentic self.
Yeah.
And you're probably wondering why I chose knowing your why. And I chose this topic because why is the first basis for really understanding yourself. And I also chose it because it was a personal struggle for me. For a while, it took me a while to really figure out what I was naturally good at in my life. I went through years of, asking God, just, please show me my purpose-driven life. What is it that I'm supposed to be doing with my life? Pull my eyes back over the top of my head so that I see it very clearly of what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I even read the book Purpose-Driven Life, which, by the way, is a great book. But for me, figuring out my why wasn't easy because I had been through so many traumatic events in my life, in my early life, and my life really just felt like a roller coaster, of ups and downs for like many years. I experienced so many deaths in my immediate family in like a short period of time that I didn't feel like I could get my footing. And so my mind and my spirit felt overwhelmed. I felt like I was just operating in survival mode. And discovering my why was in my head, it was in my spirit, but I was also trying to just survive. I was trying to make ends meet. I was trying to, pay bills and, like so many other people in the world.
Right.
So I I first of all, I want to say that, if you don't have it figured out, it's okay. If you don't have it figured out, because number one, it's never too late to start or to start again.
Mhm.
Because all the things that I've gone through in my life have really prepared me for this moment. And so, yeah, I talk about this in my book that I'm actually penning right now, which it's called Who Will Take Care of Me Now?
Oh, I like it.
It'll be out in the next 2 or 3 months. So, pick up a copy. But
Yeah.
I dig deep. I dig into like the challenges that I faced for years as a teenager, from my identity perspective, and like really just struggling to find my way. And then the story kind of how I got here today.
Yeah.
And I guess the takeaway is what's for you, no one can take away, to be honest. And so through the years, really finding my purpose in life I felt like if it was a struggle for me, then I'm sure it was a struggle for other people as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so and it's just started to come to fruition, to be honest with you. Um, I experienced people like my friends, some of my acquaintances, and they were always coming to me and asking me, questions about, how do you do this in your career or personal life? And I like a light bulb really just kind of went off. Maybe it's not just me struggling with this thing called life and this thing called career, but maybe it's quite a few people.
Yeah.
And I started to realize that I had this natural like empathy, being able to assess situations quickly, provide, as you mentioned, those like make sense solutions. And that I realized that maybe I'm doing something right. And so now my life's passion is to help as many individuals recognize like their natural born talent and use those talents to really catapult them to that next level.
I
So
love that. And that's so needed in our world today, right? I think in so many ways, our society is conditioning us to know what we want to do right out of high school, pick a degree, choose a life path, and
mhm,
go,
yeah,
right?
right.
When in reality, like those are just such formative years of figuring out who we are, and even be well beyond that. Like it takes well beyond college for us to figure out who we really are on the inside. And so I think that's so beautiful that you're giving people opportunity, and even just saying it's okay. It's okay to still be a little confused or not know fully, and even hitting a milestone birthday and saying I'm just starting to figure that out. That gives so much permission to those who feel ashamed of where they're at. So I love that you're sharing your story, Sherry, and that you're writing it in a book that's going to be released pretty soon. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing a little bit. And I definitely want to hear more because it sounds like you have such rich life experiences that brought you to where you are today. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. So I feel like the reason I'm really so passionate about this is because, there's lots of personality tests out there, Myers-Briggs and those type of tests, but the why discovery, I feel like, is the first one that really helps you to understand why you do what you do and how
mm,
you do it and what drives you to do it. It just really brings it all together. So I'm so passionate about it because that, coupled along with my positive psychology coaching and my flourishing coaching, which focuses on what's right with you
yeah,
versus what's wrong with you, and along
oh,
with
I love
you
that.
knowing, your why, your how, and your what, just really brings it all together. And then the fact that my number one in my why discovery is trust. And so when I'm in my coaching practice, the why discovery is the one I don't even start until I have my client to take the why discovery.
Hmm.
And then we also talk about there should be trust between us, because if not, then this is not a good fit for us.
Right.
And so, yeah, knowing your why is your first step in awareness. It kind of provides you like instant clarity and confidence and direction. Um, you have a new level of clarity on your past, and
Hmm.
then a new structure in your present, and then a new method for, approaching the future. So I can't take credit for the why discovery. Dr. Gary Sanchez, who used to be a dentist and now an inventor, but it's one of
Cool.
like he pivoted his life as well.
Yeah.
And so he's the one that put together the why discovery. So there's a why discovery and then there's a why OS, and the why OS is the complete package. It tells you your why, your how, and your what.
Okay.
He also says that, transformation is not about trying to be someone you want to be.
Yeah.
It's about discovering who you already are and then using your natural born talents to be successful. And I completely agree with that.
I love that. Yeah. And Tiffany saying running to research the why discovery. So that's kind of like one of the points that you have here today. So navigating your unique why pathway to purpose. The first kind of step would be to understand your why. You can take this. It sounds like a test in some ways that you can take.
Yes.
That will help you understand yourself better and understand your why better. Okay. Is
Mm-hmm.
that something people can take with you?
Correct. Yes. So
Okay.
that's part of my coaching practice. And
Nice.
they also can take the why, which is called Operating OS, which gives you the entire
full
package.
Right?
The
That
full
gives
package.
you more
Yeah.
information. Okay.
But even if you just want to do the why, it's something that you can take away with you. It helps you in, your personal life, in your career, and even your parenting relationships. And it really does, like the light bulb goes off because you start to recognize, like if you're a leader at work, you start to recognize like the different patterns of how people operate. Whether they are a make sense type of person or a simplify type of person, you start to understand, their traits and how they're triggered and the challenges. And even for your own self, you can recognize, okay, so if I'm a trust person, if I'm building trust, because if all of my friends know that my relationships are built on trust, my friendships are built on trust.
Yeah.
I can't expect everyone else to know that when I'm going into a relationship or a client relationship. I have to explain it to them, like, okay, here's how I operate, and we have to have a mutual agreement if that's how you want to operate. And that way, there's a level set right there.
Yeah, I love that. And you're being honest and transparent out the gate. And that is a trust building activity, right? Like
Correct.
that in and of itself is building trust because you're taking away all the guesswork in the relationship. And that's beautiful.
Correct.
Yeah. And it really sets a solid foundation for you to help your clients to flourish and thrive from that foundation of trust with you. I love that. Okay. So what other tips or tools do you have for us about navigating our unique why? So yeah, we can take that test. There's 2 different versions, right? Just a snapshot and then a complete picture. But what other tips do you have for us in navigating?
Right. So I want to talk about in that why discovery, there's 9 characteristics that everyone in this whole world will have, no matter what. And so the 9 characteristics that you'll find is trust, simplify, make sense, contribute, better way, right way, challenge. Let's see, there's a challenge, and seek mastery, and create clarity. And for me, like I had mentioned before, like my top ones, my number ones are trust, and the number 2 is simplify, and the number 3 is make sense. So for me, I felt like, I was struggling with, trying to understand what my purpose-driven life was. And I've been in the leadership role, corporate America, forever. And I have seen people really just operating, they either just need to pay their bills, or they're in maybe IT because it pays well, but that's not really what their passion is, right? So they're surviving, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I didn't get, like, when I've taken Myers-Briggs and all those other tests before, and the information was very similar, but for me, this particular discovery session, like, brought it all together. And
Nice.
so like when you hear, like for instance, if someone has their number one is trust, for me, like 16.5% of the population has this as their number one item.
Wow. Okay.
Right. And so you'll hear like people with trust is like the most important thing is that they will work really hard to create it. Or I'll tell my family, if I tell you I'm going to do something, then I'm going to do it. You don't have to ask me twice. And
Right.
then from a simplified perspective is like I am able to break down things in like the simplest format and remove like all the unnecessary elements. So in corporate America, I sometimes get frustrated because I'm like, why are they making this so much harder than it has to be when all they have to do is do da 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 da, right?
Okay, but not everybody's mind works that way. So yes,
Exactly.
it's a gift of yours. I see. Okay.
And then right, and then it makes sense. So I also struggle with like when things don't make sense, I'm like that just is simple. So you start to realize like, okay, these are the things that's natural for me. I pull them together really well. So me being a coach is natural for me. I didn't know that. I was doing these things all along, all
Mhm.
these years.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, Eureka, you've been doing it. So
Yeah.
what I want people to know that you're probably already doing things that you're naturally well at, or you have some hobby that you just do it and you blindly do it.
Mhm.
So look at all those things, and take heed of those things and look at the patterns and the themes in your life, and you'll come up with whatever it is. It may just be enhancing what you're already doing. Some people instinctively know what they want to be when they grow up. I really admire those type of people. Like I want to be a doctor, an attorney from,
Yeah, there's definitely some people who know for
yeah,
sure. Out the
for,
gate, right?
yeah,
After birth, they're no,
exactly.
they
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
I was not one of those people.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, not one of those people at all. So all I'm saying is, you know, give yourself grace,
Yeah.
and then just take a look at the patterns in your life. And it is, I have, to be honest with you, I have pivoted my life so many times that my friends and family are probably like, oh, are you trying again? Like, I'm like, yeah, because I still have breath in my body and I can pivot whenever I feel like pivoting.
Right.
Because
Yeah, we can pivot as many times as
yeah,
we want in this lifetime.
exactly.
There's no limit, right? Yeah, Cynthia's like, amen. Yes. Yes, Sherry.
Yeah. So the points that I want to like just bring out is, understanding who you are at the core and
Mhm.
being your authentic self will help you better understand like personal relationships, your work and career relationships, and parental relationships. You know, this particular tool is good for teams. I mean, if you're in a leadership role and you want to better understand your team, or take it to your corporate and say, hey, this is something that I think would be beneficial for the team. You can utilize it in every aspect. You can understand your child. It's even good to have your child probably take it. I wouldn't say maybe a small child, but a teenager,
Yeah.
right? Because they're
Yeah.
trying to figure out, yeah, we think, at 18 they're grown, but they are not. They've been kind of, finding their way for a couple of years. And
Right.
so just because they graduate doesn't make them understand
No.
everything that's
That doesn't
happening
give
in
them,
life.
we're not guiding them in their, understanding their personality and who they are. We're educating them in, mathematics and literature and those types of things. I have a question. Cheryl has a question in the chat. It says, what are the advantages of Y.OS versus Y?
So the why discovery only tells you, why you do what you do. It gives you like
That's the
it gives you
9 things.
it's your number one thing,
Oh,
and
it's
it
the
just
number
only
one thing.
tells you why you do what you do,
Okay.
right?
So is that the trust for you as an
Yeah.
example? Like you
My
would
why
just
is
get the
trust.
trust.
My
Okay.
number one is trust.
So
Yeah.
the why discovery would just give you that first thing.
The
Okay.
first, the one. I mean, it gives you a lot of information still, but if you want the full package, if you want to know your how and your what. So your how's number 2, and then your what is number 3. So if you
So
want to know,
simplify is your how
mhm,
and your
and then
what.
makes sense is my
Right.
what.
Makes
Yes,
sense is your what. Okay.
right,
See.
right. So yeah, I would say, you know, do the entire OS discovery if you can. If you cannot, then I offer both.
Right.
Um, and I would suggest that if you want to take a look at the entire package, if you want to move yourself, um, along and understand it, then I would do the entire YOS process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. So just to recap what you were saying, right? So looking at the patterns, looking at things that you're naturally good at will help you, right? Outside of this test, you can do that on your own, is just looking at the patterns of things that you're good at. Of course, the test will fast track that for us, but that will help us to better understand the why that we show up in the world, right? Our why. And
why you do what you do and how you do
why
it.
you do what you do.
And it helps you to put a plan together, right? I mean, because to me, life is an evolution. It's ongoing, and you have to, go back and, reevaluate your stuff. Some people do it every year. At the beginning of the year, people make their New Year's resolutions, which I would suggest not waiting for a whole year to do it. But,
right.
Just see if you're on your path, maybe once a quarter, and it helps you to put together your goals and see if you're trending in the right direction. And if not, then, it's called agility, right? You fail fast and then you recover and you get back up and you go like, oh, that didn't work for me, so let me try something else. I believe in mentorship, right? Yep. And finding a right coach who understands you, and you guys work on it together, because it's just not a one-stop process. It's an ongoing process. But once you get your blueprint, then you could take that and continue to move forward. I just feel I'm just so passionate about it. I feel like if I can get someone to get to their goal faster than I did, then my goal in this world will have been accomplished.
Oh, I love that. And here's one way that you're going to help us get there a lot faster, right? Is one of your gifts. You're giving us a free gift. So everyone who's here today, Sherry is offering us this Discover Your Why, a guide to personal growth. This is a free gift. Tell us a little bit about this gift while everyone clicks on the link and downloads it.
Right. So the guide to personal growth is really just kind of similar to what I talked about. It's a workbook. It takes you through practices of how you can, well-being practices, setting goals, taking notes, and you could just take your time, go through it. And that's one of the tools that you could use to set your goals up and set yourself up for success. It's like 40 something pages, which,
Nice. Oh, that's such a beautiful free gift. You're so generous. Oh, yeah. And Gail says, great mission. So we also have another gift, which is your VIP gift. And this is a free 60-minute coaching session. Oh my gosh. And why assessment. Hey, all of you that were looking up the why discovery, here you go. Sherry is offering us a free 60-minute coaching session. So go ahead and click on the link to upgrade to your VIP package if you haven't done so already. If you're already a VIP member, go to your portal and go get on Sherry's calendar now, because that's going to fill up. So all those people that were in another room, we got first dibs. So now you guys know. So go get Sherry's gift.
Right. Yes. Go get it.
Yes, go get it. Tell us just really quickly, Sherry, what can they expect in that 60-minute coaching session?
Right. So what we'll do is we'll have you take the why assessment. We'll walk through it and we'll discuss, were there any surprises? And then we'll talk about, what it is that you're trying to accomplish in this next year. And we'll attempt to put together a plan. And if you want to actually take more coaching sessions to continue to work with me, then we could talk about that as well. And if you want to take the YOS assessment, then we can talk about that as well.
Oh, beautiful. So as we have a few seconds left, any final words of wisdom, Sherry, as we head on out today?
So no, I want to say, walk in your authenticity, know that it's never too late to pivot. And then my motto is live your life in positivity and possibility.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing session on the Clarity Confidence Connection Summit. Be sure to mark your calendars to join us in Hawaii from November 2nd through the 5th for our premier in-person experience. If you have any questions or want to apply to be a speaker at one of our upcoming events, email our team at breakthrough@clarityconfidenceconnection.com.
Sherry. Bye, everybody. See you on the other side.